Hello. Teresa Phelps Martin here, Soulfully You. Feeling pretty soulful. And understand that energy of soul is that inner processing, that inner world, those inner depths that kind of feel boundless, yet are always held by the light. It's so important to remember that right now. So I'm going to step on my mat and then we'll begin, okay? So let's begin. Cycles. Cycles are how our world works. I'm thinking if you believe the world is flat, you're not tuning in. So I am going to start from the vantage point that we understand, or we are all in agreement that the earth is round. And that we can actually experience that circular energy, that sphere of energy in every direction. That 360 degrees takes us a full circle. That when the sun is filtered by clouds, we see the circle. That the moon is a circle. That when we look at the lights of the stars at night, and even the way their rays illuminate, that there's this circular pattern. There's a wave-like energy, right? The rise and the fall of cycles. There's the seasons that we experience. There's the cycle of the breath. There's the cycle of our life, of our day, of our journey. And we usually connect to that cycle as the idea of a beginning and an end. And it's usually seen as this linear journey, but the beginning circles around and the ending is the same as the beginning, okay? And when we understand this, when we get on our mat, it can be really profound. So right now, I'm about to begin a movement-based practice that brings together your awareness, your breath, your physical being, and the emotional journey of what you feel, even just right here, right now. What are you feeling in your body? Are you feeling sore? I am. I'm able to move compared to like a month ago or even a couple weeks ago, which is great. And so what happens in my personal cycle is that when I can move, I move. So I'm taking on the leaves of our yard. So we usually see, even from a psychological aspect, we have this idea of thought, feeling, action, result, but they move in both directions, a forward movement and a backward movement. The results that we've experienced, the cognitive bias that we have, the results create the way we take action, right? Every morning, if I get up, I will be productive. And then at the end of the day, we see that we were productive and we go back to bed. What happens is when the results start to pile up and our actions change, this can go good and bad, and then we feel differently about things, and so we have different thoughts. The thing is those thoughts come from our beliefs, and our beliefs are a result of the results. So I know that seems kind of big, but it's why choice is so important. By the way, it's cognitive behavior therapy. It's kind of the ground, the premise of most ways of mental health. So in this cycle, we have beginning and ending at the same point. And what we want to realize that is in that cycle, there are high tides and low tides. That means we're in this energy where we feel momentum, right? Let's say you receive news. And in that news, you have to recognize how you feel about it. And the way you feel about it is going to actually inform the way you think about it. The way you think about it is going to then inform the actions you take, which then has an influence on the results of the experience. The moon goes through these same cycles. So at this moment, we are illuminated by this fixed water, this Scorpio water, which seasonally is the time of death of nature. But that's the thing. Nature's not dying. It's just retreating. It's retracting. Its beauty and abundance is being concealed, but the beauty is still there. And it's so important to remember the beauty in life through the cycles of things. So in the journey of loss, which is the background right now, I know I can count on one hand, I can fill up one hand how many people that I know that are journeying grief right now. A very, very intimate and saddening, and actually I can count beyond the hand. And these are just people in my immediate world. And so I know you know people as well. And in that, one of my friends said to me, as I was at the visitation, she said, why our culture needs to change the narrative of death. I couldn't agree more. So in this cycle, what we really want to recognize is that in the backdrop of this Scorpio, which is totally misrepresentative of being secretive and stinging and hurtful and spiteful, that is the low road. We want to go to the higher vantage point. It's the point of transformation. It's the point where we can really acknowledge the life, the death, and the rebirth. And in that, we can feel the creation, the sustenance, and the dissolution, and the dissolution creates anew. Then we have this energy informing us of this kind of form, structure, leadership, the drive, the determination. The Capricorn energy is the sea goat, the ability to realize that we can penetrate in the deep depths of our structure and not try to dig and excavate and bring the treasure forward, but to have the determination to go inward. Capricorn in the northern hemisphere is winter. It gives birth to winter, the place where things are frozen. And so what do we carry with us? We carry love. So I'm being a little more verbal today. For many reasons, I'm setting you up for more information that will be coming. As I continue to say that, it continues to be true. And continuation of my, not hesitation, but reluctancy to leap forward is also giving me evidence of why it's so important to slow down and know how to trust your instincts and your gut and decipher between the ego of putting the pressure to achieve and accomplish and accepting the power of allowing. So with that, in this cycle and in this energy that we're going to work with today, we are going to hold space. We are going to physically hold the container for that energy that is moving through us from the vantage point of recognizing that the guidance to that which is none higher. The Sanskrit word is anutraha, and we're going to be with grace. Okay? And in that graha, in that ability to bring that energy in, that to which is none higher, with grace, with that revelatory power, Because when you hold space for the void or the unknown, and we can go inward, not to excavate and take control or take charge, but to really work within the soil of our soul and recreate a structure and a form that brings wisdom. Wisdom. And the only way you can have wisdom is by participating. And you bring that wisdom forward and you pour from that cup of you the insights of how to rebuild and how to reconnect and how to return with an understanding that your own individual journey supports the collective. And so this is the shared vulnerability. Because we're all in a delicate and fragile place in our lives. And that makes the world delicate and fragile. But there's still so much righteous energy coming at us that it's hard. I could even sound righteous right now. So the discernment is essential, and that's really what Capricorn energy is the power to discern. So we're going to feel psoas and inner thighs, okay? So we're going to feel these inner lines, the psoas and the inner thighs especially, and we're going to feel that ability to create the container, right? To feel that as we're in the murky waters and in the soil of vulnerability, there is wisdom, right? So we're going to start on our back because I've talked enough. And in that talking, I hope there is something for you. And especially those of you who have reached out, I thank you. Your connection matters. You see me and you hear me and you listen. I don't see you and I don't hear you. I just trust that you're there. Trust is very Capricorn. So you're going to come line all the way down, all the way to the earth, okay? You can either have feet together, knees, actually let's do it. Feet together, knees wide, unless this creates discomfort and uncertainty that is intolerable, right? And I think we're all understanding what level of tolerance for uncertainty we have. Feet together, knees wide, head on the earth, hands to your belly. We call on the highest. We bring down a divine ray of love and protection, and we hold space for the highest good, harm to none. I want you to breathe into the depth of your belly. Feel the ground beneath you, its firm support. So we begin in the darkness. We know in yoga that the cycle of our practice will bring forward a result, which is why we begin. It's why we choose to show up. But then we have to allow for, at this beginning point, a level of vulnerability, of surrendering, of letting go. After those 5 breaths, draw into the core. So feel your glutes hugging in. Your tail is heavy. Draw the knees up towards your armpits. Bring the hands to your ankles. Squeeze your ankles, let the knees fall open. Move the head from side to side. Move the feet around. Draw into the belly, draw into the core. Now allow the breath to be more around your heart, in the back of your heart, right? Get into the back body. 5 breaths here as well.
After those 5 breaths, bring the knees together, give yourself a little hug, rock and roll from side to side. And then bring your hands to your knees. Move your knees away from you so you're holding onto your knees, your legs get heavy. I want you to feel the density of your bones, the heaviness of your hips, but your hands are gripping. And you're gonna go counterclockwise. So the knees away from you are 12 o'clock, move over towards 9 o'clock, and then in towards your belly at 6 o'clock, over towards 3 o'clock, and then up to the top. So the knees going to the right are the horizon, knees into your chest are the underworld, knees to the other side of the horizon, and then up at top is the highest point in the sky. So just circling around. One more time. You can stay with the 360-degree circle of a clock. Or you can go with that circle of the points of what's below the horizon when the knees come in, and what's above the horizon as the knees go up. Now we're going to go in the opposite direction. You're going to take the knees up and around, and then back down. Okay? So as you move towards 9 o'clock, you move to the highest point, high noon, and then over towards 3 o'clock, going into the underworld, beneath the horizon, one more full circle. And notice how much your core is working or it's not. And then go back to high noon, go back to the top, go back into that full embodiment. Bring the left foot to the ground, right leg's gonna reach up towards the sky. Pull the thigh bone down into the hip socket because we got to plug in for all this today. Flex and point the foot 3 times. So in this cycle, we're still in the beginning. We're in that place of understanding the energy of our being. Where's our mind? Where's our body? What are we feeling? Are we tight? Are we loose? Are we agitated or are we quite all right? And then flex the foot, bend the knee, half happy baby. Okay, as you're in half happy baby, I want you to feel what's going on with your left hip. Keep the left hip heavy, knee towards the armpit, and then you're just gonna work your leg towards straight. You're gonna feel it through the back line of the leg, which is the idea. I want us to get connected and trusting the back body so we can go inward. 3 breaths here. Don't try to go for a straight leg. Try to go for the container where you can feel the depth. And then free the foot. Bring the ankle to the thigh. Rest here. Both hips are heavy. Use your core. Draw your knees into your chest. You can use your hands or you don't have to. 3 breaths here. Wrap that outer right hip towards your tailbone. Head and shoulders are heavy, so even if you're holding your leg, you're not straining your neck and your shoulders. And then exhale. The left foot comes down, the hips move over to the right. Right leg crosses over, knees roll over to the left. Stretch the arms out from the shoulders. Twist the belly towards the right. 3 breaths here. Now I want you to feel connected to that right rib cage, right shoulder, right jaw, right eye. That inner line of your being. The inner line that you can't see, but you can feel. And by feeling it, you begin to know it and trust it. Exhale, draw into your core. Inhale back through the center. Uncross the legs. Bring the hips back to the middle. Bring that head, neck, and shoulders to the middle. Pause, feel your breath, and then bring the left foot in. Half happy baby, okay? Right hip is heavy. Core is engaged, shoulders are plugged in, knee is opening, and then just extend the leg as far as you can. So I can take my legs straight, but we're not going there. I really want us to feel the container, feel the density of the bones, creating the connection to our inner world. And breathing into that place of just the murky waters of our inner selves, our soul. Most of us don't know how to get here. This is the gift of yoga, is to know ourselves. And in knowing ourselves, then we reclaim our power, our strength, our vitality. It doesn't even look like I'm trying to straighten my leg, but I am. Just FYI. And then bring the leg back to the center. Oops, I forgot this part, didn't I? Point and flex. 3 breaths. It's just helping to pump the blood. We're helping our lymph system, our circulatory system, all these parts that are essential for our vitality to operate. Then bring the ankle to the thigh, knees into the chest. Little stretch for the outer hips. Elongate through the spine. Circle the ankles if you need to circle the ankles. And then bring the right foot to the floor, cross the left leg over, hips lift and move to the left, knees roll to the right, left arm stretches out, belly's twisting, breathing into that left side. By the way, this beginning is definitely putting you into the darkness, and it is putting you into a place of vulnerability. So if this is new for you, or this virtual yoga thing creates so much uncertainty, trust the ground, your home, the container that's holding you, your breath, all those that have ever guided you on your practice. Exhale out completely, draw into the core. Inhale through the center, unravel. Both knees come back. Hips come in line with your shoulders. So by doing this, though, what we're doing is we're actually clearing, we're letting go of the stuff that has attached itself to us so we can be more present and grounded to receive the wisdom. Heels are in line with your hips. Hips are in line with the shoulders. Arms are by your sides. Inhale the hips up for bridge. Throat's open, shoulders are drawing into the back. 3 breaths here. And then exhale, hips come all the way back down. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Find your feet, shoulders to your back. Inhale, lift behind the heart. If you are one of those people that wheel pose is really easy and you just want to experience wheel pose at the beginning and you know you will cause 0 harm to your neck, your shoulders, your back, go for it. Otherwise, come back to bridge and breathe here. 3 breaths. Now, at the top of those 3 breaths, if you went to wheel pose, come back to bridge pose. You're going to come to bridge pose and just 3, imagine you had a block, and just 3 pulses, squeezing that imaginary block, waking up those inner thighs. Now keep those inner thighs engaged, lead with the inner thighs, so your thigh bones are plugging into the hip socket and bringing your hips back to the ground. Get them all the way to the ground, right side, left side, pause. Keep the core contained, breathe into your heart. Open your throat, push the feet into the ground, backs of the arms to the ground. Lifting from behind the heart, inhale your hips up. 3 breaths here. And then 3 tiny pulses. Imagine you're hugging a block. So you can feel your muscles, but you can't see anything happening now. Keep hugging that midline. 3 breaths here. You're starting to feel the work, the effort. And then using the engagement of the inner thighs, let the inner thighs waterfall towards the earth, guiding the pelvis all the way back to the ground. You'll have a big arch in the back. Let the hips land. Breathe in, and then you're going to actually shrug your shoulders up to your ears. Lift your head and adjust. So now you've grown out of the depths, right? We always walk our hips away. I want you to walk your ribcage away. Move your arms out from your shoulders like a T. Exhale your knees over to the left. Inhale your knees to the center. Exhale your knees over to the right. Inhale through the center. Exhale over to the left. Inhale through the center. Exhale over to the right. Inhale through the center. Both knees come into your chest. Grab hold of your ankles. Allow your knees to fall open. 3 breaths here. Now bring the knees to the center. You're going to stretch your legs straight up to the sky. Don't worry about straight legs. Keep the knees bent. Hold on to the backs of your hamstrings. So many of us go here for our calves or our knees. I want you to come into your hamstrings. Pull the thigh bones down so you're going to have an arch in the back. Draw that belly in. Anchor the shoulders down so the head's clear. Point your feet and then turn your feet out. Then flex your feet. What I want you to do is keep the thighs heavy, tailbones heavy, core is heavy. Push your heels towards each other. You should feel the inseams of your legs waking up. Just think of it as legs up the wall, but our feet are turned out. Feel the thigh bones pulling in. Hug those outer hips. There's a potency here. There's an intensity. This is like really subtle, but Mars and Scorpio. The heels are pulling in. There's a passion. There's an awakening happening. There's that transformation. This is that energy of Pluto, that shift. There's a darkness that's being illuminated. You should feel your core right now. It's waking up Lulu. I know we've been here more than 3 breaths. Bend your knees. Oops. Bring your feet to the ground. Stretch your legs out long. Arms back behind your head. And just stretch it all out. Feel all that potency we just cultivated in our core now radiating out to the periphery and beyond. Right? More illuminated. Circle the ankles, circle your wrists. So we began with the ending, right? Draw the knees into your chest. Hold on to your legs. Give yourself a big hug. Breathe in. So this is that wind relieving pose. If you want to bring your head and shoulders up off the ground, why not? Let's go for it. Curl in. And then lower it back down. And you're going to rock up to seated. Hi, Lulu. And from that seat, you're going to come onto your own 2 feet. All the way into a standing forward bend. So it's a pretty grand shift to go from being lying on the floor to now standing on your own 2 feet. Bend your knees, relax your neck and jaw. Cradle your arms if you want to. Feel the breath into the back body. Push the feet to the earth, hands to your shins. Inhale, find length. Opening the heart up. Exhale, fold in. 2 more times. Inhale, find length. Exhale, fold. Inhale, find length. Now as you find that length, you're going to bend your knees, elbows to your thighs. Push the feet to the ground. hug into the midline. Feel that hugging energy lifting into the core. Soften the area in the shoulders, then hands come to your heart. Shoulders wrap into the back. Come all the way standing. So much power, so much strength. Inhale the arms up overhead. Stretch up and over to the right. Pause here. Pull the legs in towards the center. Hips stay right over the shoulders. Draw into the core. Lift up through the sides of the body. Inhale, come up through the center. Find length. Reach up and over to the left. Right? So we're not pushing our hips over and dropping the rib cage. I want you to feel lots of power. Inner thighs moving back. Outer hips hugging in. Sides of the body are long. We're holding that space to process all of that shifting inside. Inhale, come all the way back through the center. Hands come back behind the head. Shoulders drawn to the back. Open the heart. Feel the breath. Feel the connection to the back body that we woke up. Inhale, come upright. Arms go wide. You're going to step your left foot back into warrior one. Hands come back. Hug the shoulders towards each other. Bend the elbows. You're not clasping your hands. And then you're going to bow forward. Keep lunging into the front leg. I want us to ground the leg. Pull into your core and hug the shoulders to the back like you're holding somebody up behind you. And then inhale, come upright. Straighten the leg. Turn all the way to the back edge of the mat. You're going to have to widen your feet. And then now you're in warrior two, going to the back edge of the mat. Lunge into the leg. Feel the power in that front leg. Now we're getting the inner thigh. So we got the back of the calf. Now we're in the inner thigh. Arms go wide. Find that length. Core is in. Arms are wide. Gaze over those fingers. Full breath in. Full breath out. Elbow to your thigh. Now push the elbow in. Pull the rib cage up and in. The thighs are moving back, the outer hips. You got to pull that in. Shoulders move to the back. Stretch the arm by your ear. Deep inhale. Full exhale. Hand comes to the earth. Turn to the long edge of the mat. Both feet are turned straight ahead or inward. Hands go wide. Gecko arms. Elbows go wide. Lift into the core. Inseams of the legs, your inner heels, your inner calves, your inner thighs are moving back, but your outer hips, your outer shins are holding that form. Bow forward. 3 breaths here. Inhale, find length. You're going to pivot all the way around to the front. Lean into that left hand. Pull the hips towards each other and twist. And as you twist, open the heart, open the throat. And then exhale the hand to the earth. Watch out for your sweet dog. Step the foot forward and pow. My Lulu is a Libra sun and a Taurus moon. That earth energy. Grounding, steady, fairly stubborn. Inhale, find length. Open the heart, but full of love. Exhale, fold. Inhale, I want you just to feel into the inseams of the legs. Hug those outer hips in, fold forward. Inhale, find length. And exhale, bow. Bend the knees, elbows to the thighs. Even out, check in with your knees. Hug that imaginary ball in between your knees. Lift into the belly, hands come to the heart, shoulders come to the back. You're bringing that wisdom with you. All of that energy we've worked with. Arms stretch up overhead. Big full breath in. Full breath out. Arms reach overhead. Pull into that center. So ribs are hugging in, thighs are moving back, but the outer hips are hugging in. Lift up and over to the left. elongating that whole right sideline from your right hand, your arm bones plugging into the shoulder blades, hugging into the back. The front right rib cage is hugging down. The outer hip is wrapping back. The outer edge of the foot is pushed to the earth as much as the inseam of the foot. Inhale, come up through the center. Lift up. Keep that illuminated right side as you lift up and over. The shoulder blade draws in, the ribs draw in. Inhale, come back through the center, hands behind the head, shoulders drawn to the back, open the heart. And then inhale, come upright, hands sweep back, knees are gonna bend, glide the foot back, warrior one. Foot grounds, pull into the core, shoulders drawn to the back. That inner thigh's moving back, the outer hips moving back. The shoulders are drawing back. You're gonna lean forward so we get more of a stretch into that calf. When we feel vulnerable, it's so essential we ground our hearts. So think of this filling up with the back body, going into the depths of ourselves, and then taking roots from the heart all the way down to the earth. And then you're going to inhale, come upright. Remember, we have to widen our feet, so come up through the center, heel toe apart. Right foot turns out into warrior two. So feel the center, feel that connection, hips and ribs. Shoulders are to your back. Arms are strong, gazing over. And then elbow to your thigh. Stay lifted through that side body. Shoulders are to the back. Feel the connection inward, lunging in, and stretch the arm by your ear. Breathing all the way in and all the way out. Then exhale the hand all the way to the earth. Turn to that long edge of the mat. Feet are straight. If not, turned in. Hands go wide. Lift into your core. Shoulders drawn to your back and bow. So the inseams are moving back. The outer hips are wrapping in. Inhale, find length. Turn to the front edge of the mat. Back heel lift. So you see the cycle we just did? Calf, inner thigh. Now we're into the hips. Twisting the spine. Shoulders are to the back. Arm stretches overhead. Feels so good to be able to extend my arm right now. Being pain-free and having the room to open. It's huge. Exhale, the hand to the earth. Step it forward and bow. This is what the practice does for us. It allows us to measure where we are on our journey. This is Capricorn energy. To measure and account for what's going on. So we can have that accountability. That's Capricorn is the accountability piece, not so much accomplishment piece. That wisdom is always with you. Inhale, find length. Bend the knees. Pull into the center. But what happens is that earth energy can be so grounded that it detaches from the feeling, from the process of transformation. Elbows go wide, shoulders drawn to the back, lift into the core. Inhale all the way up. Arms rise up high. Exhale, we're going all the way down to the earth and stepping all the way back, downward dog. Around the dog. That's our subtle way of asking for a belly rub. Draw into your downward facing dog. Stretch it wide, stretch it long. Inhale, the right leg goes up, bend the knee, open the hip up. And then you're going to bring the right knee underneath your hip. Pivot exhale. And stretch the left arm by your ear. You're gonna bend the left knee to your chest, grab hold of the foot. Then you gotta turn the knee down, internally rotate the leg, open up. So keep the heel close to your tailbone so you get more of a thigh stretch versus back bend, heart opener. Now draw the right shoulder into the back. Feel the core drawing in. Lean the head back and open the throat. That's a little daring, I realize. And then come back through the center. You're going to bring, this is a little too fancy, but bring your left foot all the way forward. Pick the right knee up. And then we're going to lunge into the right foot for standing asana. Okay? I'm coming all the way low because I can. You only go where you can go. My heel's on the ground. This is so important that the heel's grounded. Draw into the belly, open the chest, open the heart. And if you can, the left arm lifts up and stretches over. I don't expect a lot of us to be able to do this, but I felt like it. So there you go. And then come all the way back through the center. You're going to have to come out of it by pushing into the ground, lifting into your core. Turn your feet in and then turn them out. Come into a squat. Ground into the earth. Both feet are planted. Shoulders touch the back. Core's in. Arms go wide. Sweep the arms overhead. Bring the left hand behind the right. Sit in. Sit into that depth. And then inhale, come all the way up. Right foot turns in, left foot turns out. Lift up, reach back, reverse triangle pose if there is such a thing. And then exhale all the way into triangle. So let me reiterate, this is the peak right here. This is where we can stand in our light. So can you use the muscles to hold the form to allow the expression of your creative potential to come forward? That's the cycle. That's when we rise up, hand comes to the earth, move back. When we're in that cycle of where we were in the darkness, right? Even just that flow had its own cycle in it. Can you feel how one side is longer than the other? One side is more free. That you woke up to that connection to breathe, to feel, to be. Inhale, the left leg goes up, and the left knee. So there's always two sides, okay? There's two sides, and then there's a truth. As we wake up to that depth, then we realize there's more. And in that more, we align. Ground in. We remain accountable for that energy that is shifting. For the vulnerability, not to fear it, but to allow that potency to come forward. So once you find both shoulders to the back, you're going to pick the foot up. You can always keep the foot down. Bend the knee. Hold on to the ankle. And then heel stays connected towards the sit bone. Inner thigh leans back. Look to the earth. Draw into the core. Lengthen through the neck. And then if you can, open the throat. It's really hard to teach that one virtually, but I can't be hands-on anyway. And to everybody who's so kind and that desire to be in person, same here. I have nowhere to go teach. Just FYI. There is not a place for me that I know of that I feel aligned morally and ethically to show up. Free the foot, draw in, bring the foot forward. Okay, so right foot comes all the way around, knee lifts up, and then you pivot, turn to the left, right? Coming to the earth. This is not easy, okay? This is because of, I have that anomaly that my shin bones are longer than my thigh bones. And I have the muscles of my back body are long. So I can be here. You may not be able to. You may have to hold it. And then if you can, foot comes up, lift up and stretch the arm. And then come all the way back through the center. You have to ground in to rise up. Find your pelvis in between your feet, then turn the feet out. Bend the knees, right? So you're here in this goddess squat. Arms overhead, right hand behind the left. Keep that connection through your core. Hand behind the left and sit here. 3 breaths. Moving into that peak energy, left foot turns out, right foot turns in. Feel that lift, reach up, reverse triangle. So you feel the hope and the optimism, and you've made it. And then we shift all the way into that tricky asana. And expand, feel the form, the container, and the offering, the wisdom that comes forward, the body's intelligence and guidance that sits within every cell. And then exhale, hand to the earth, back heel lifts, downward dog. Inhale forward into a plank pose. Knees high or low, all the way to the earth. Once you come to the ground, pillow your hands and rest. Breathe into your belly. See if in the next few moments, you can release more. That you can allow the ground to hold you. And then bring your gaze back through the center. Right, we're moving to that ending again. That's the beginning. Move all the way back into child's pose. Feeling the deep bow, the deep honoring. Exhale out completely. Inhale up onto your hands and knees and just find a seat.
And as you find that seat, sit tall. Bring the hands together at your own heart. We're sitting in the in-between. The in-between where perhaps you know you need to come lying down and rest. And so you just rest. Or the in-between where your mind is racing and what to do, right? I'm breaking rules, so my mind is questioning my choices. But if you sit here for a moment and just feel an energetic light sweeping through you and just clearing out. Feel the container in which this vehicle in which you get to live and experience life, and the vehicle that holds the wisdom and the guidance for you, that through the practice, through the alchemy of moving with our breath in a very subtle yet profound way, you feel reconnected to the light within, that as your eyes are closed, the inner world doesn't appear as dark. And then how can you ground this light and honor it? You are accountable for your own vitality, and we lean into the support of one another. Nobody is on this pilgrimage alone. We are all disciples of the light. And so it's in this moment that what are we going to carry forward? What energy can we share and pour forth from the wellspring of our own heart to be of service to the greater? And so it is from my own heart to yours that I bow and honor. Namaste. And so it is. I thank you for live or being in the journey of replay. For those of you who enjoy the replay, thank you for telling me you watch the replay. What is it that serves you? What is it that's helpful? What isn't helpful? You all be clear and straight with me. It's a two-way dialogue. You know, I draw in from so much. It's way easier to teach in person because I have energy. I have the energy of my home, of the past, and of Lulu. And the Divine Mother. She's very present. The in-person requires a structure and a form that I am homeless in. I never wanted to bash anybody, and I won't, because everybody is doing the best they can. But I will say I am holding a very strong line and very aware of my own pride and my own ego. But I live very ethically and morally, and when I am not valued or seen and asked to rise up without being respected, it's hard to show up. So just know that there's a very ethical thing, and so that leaves me homeless. Yoga homeless. So it's fine, which is why I'm here. The tides are changing, and that will continue to reveal itself soon. And I just thank you. I thank you for the messages. I thank you for the text messages. I appreciate it. I appreciate your generosity. This is my livelihood. There's only a few of you who contribute financially, so just realize that. So in all these layers, if I'm transparent and honest, this is the best I can do. And in that support, we all have yearnings. I have them as well. That's where we are. And that's the cycle, right? There is this cycle that yoga will always continue to be an offering. It has guided me. If you've been with me at all in the past month, you've watched my inability to move. to now having movement again and creativity. These are the cycles. And I am still grieving what was. Like, if I'm out in the world, I tell people that, yes, COVID killed my career. Literally, however, in that letting go, there's a new energy being born, but it doesn't mean that what was won't ever be again. So I continue to open my heart to receive the guidance and the direction. And when I had somebody out in the world say to me, oh, you just like being at home? Yes, I like being at home, but this is what I can present. So, just being clear and straight up, because I think I might have been misleading you all before. So anyhow, just clarifying. And that we're all transforming together. Everything's so fragile and delicate right now. And so be kind, right? Be kind. Read the daily posts. Reflect on them. Consider how you're being guided and how you can be of service. These are the things, and hopefully this platform is a way that I can share with you in that generous nature to help you guide. Now, my husband wishes I was making money too, but that's just how it is. So those of you who have contributed in the lunar, thank you. It is, every time I get that notice, I appreciate it. Some of you are approaching that 6-month point, and we will reevaluate. I have to reevaluate evaluate a lot of my life right now for a lot of different reasons. And I will fill you guys in soon, okay? Have a beautiful and lovely day. And you have to be you. That's so, Pat, thank you so much for reflecting that. I know you're journeying, and that journey is beautiful. And I just can't imagine being a mom watching their girls awaken into that new layer. It's just even watching my sweet 5-year-old discover and her vibrancy come forward. It's like the greatest gift I've ever known. It's not easy though. So yes, you have to be you, right? You have to be you and be real and be soulful. I just feel like that's what the world is asking us, is to wake up to our own inner light and honor that. Okay. Peace and love, friends.